This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to the From Pain to Purpose radio show. I am your host, Eva Fulton. In this show, we explore the incredible journeys of resilience, healing, and transformation. In each episode, we will sit down with individuals who have faced unimaginable struggles and turned their pain into power, heartbreak into hope, and their challenges into meaningful change and finding new purpose in life. Through candid conversations and inspiring stories, we will uncover how pain, whether emotional, physical, mental, or spiritual, can be the catalyst for profound growth and a deeper sense of purpose. So if you are looking for motivation, insight, and real stories of triumph over adversity, you're in the right place. Let's get started on this journey from pain to purpose. Let's give veterans a voice through Military Broadcast Talk.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the From Pain to Purpose radio show. I'm your host, Eva Fulton. And more importantly, welcome to 2026. Woo, we made it. 2025 is over. I don't know about you guys, but that's probably one of the toughest years that I've experienced. So I'm glad we made it to 2026 alive and kicking. I have my guest here beside me, Samantha Jasso. How do you
actually, my maiden name's Hosso, but I'm married.
Okay.
It's Epperson.
Epperson. I put it in the system right, but I didn't memorize the last name right. So before we get into Samantha's story and, you know, what's been happening, very positive for her, I wanted to share my word of the year. I'm one of those people I did not do well with having resolutions, New Year's resolutions. Nope, those are too easy to break. Probably close to 8-9 years ago, I started having a word of the year. Have had a variety of them over the years, but last year was the word elevate, and I really kind of apply it in all facets of my life. I was talking to a young gentleman New Year's Eve at Billy Bob's, and was, you know, yes, I know it was loud in there, but you know, sometimes you can have the conversation before the, you know, the big time went off. But it was good to have a conversation with him. He's like, but he was asking some really good questions. Well, how do you use that word of the year in your life? And I said, you know, really, I just kind of look at as a target of something that I can, you know, we've been to the range before. You're living life by looking at the target. I use the word elevate all year long as my target to the decisions that I'm making. Is that an elevate decision?
Right.
Is it something that's going to help get me to where I want to go? Is it going to be something that is going to help me climb higher? And I work very well with the dangling carrot. So I set my dangling carrots as my elevation goal. that if last year was like, if I finished, I was finishing a couple of those PhD classes, and my reward was going hiking in Spain on the Camino.
Nice.
And so I believe in the dangling carrot. That was definitely an elevate, whole week journey and everything. But my word for this year is intentional. And I posted earlier about that, intentional in the time I have, being intentional with the time, being intentional with the people in my life, being intentional with the physical activities that I do, because I had my recent diagnosis, final real diagnosis of lupus and the tinge of Lyme and anemia, that I have to be more intentional with my energy and the way I manage my life and my own personal resources, that intentional just seem to fit, right? Because if I'm supposed to keep broadening, the work I do, both with my PhD, with my studies, but the radio shows that I'm, hosting or co-hosting, there's only so much of Eva to go around.
Exactly.
And I can't be everything to everybody without losing something of myself. So to me, intentional, seem to help. It's supposed to help me keep things focused and make sure that I am, sorry guys. So clearly we're live, right? Hey. Sorry, the dogs. My son must be up or something. I don't know. Sorry, folks.
Real life.
So anyway, intentional is my word for this year. I'm not sure somebody's joining us down there. I can see we've got maybe Josh. Nope, I don't know. He maybe accidentally popped on something. But Joel's putting some highlights out there. Thanks, Joel, for your support. Joel, he leads the train on MBR. So, we're starting out the year. Joel is the head honcho that runs MBR. And he's a great resource out there. So thank you for sharing that. See, he said we're on fire. We're on fire already. All right. So, we've been connected through Facebook for quite a while.
Yes.
And I saw when we were posting the other day, right, that we were both at Dallas Baptist University at the same time. Yes. But you were in in-person classes and I was an online class.
Yes.
So funny how we were both going to the same university at the same time, but
we didn't meet each other years and years later, which is really cool.
Yeah. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Samantha. I am married. I've been married for almost 7 years now.
Wow, good.
7 years in July. And I just got my master's degree in marketing.
Sorry, guys. The dogs. Sorry. Can't help dogs. Sorry. But everybody's used to that from COVID, right? Having the dogs, it's not happening if the dogs aren't interrupting.
It's real life.
It's just like the teams, yeah. So what did you just graduated a couple of weeks ago?
Yes.
Yes. And you're from Tech. You graduated from Texas Tech.
Yes. So I got my bachelor's degree from Texas Tech in Human Development and Family Studies, which is about enhancing and improving the human condition, back in August of 2007.
Okay.
And then I went to grad school 3 different times, 3 different majors, but I finally got my master's degree last month.
Awesome. From Tech also?
No, from the University of Texas at Dallas.
Okay. UTD?
Yeah.
It's still part of the great UT system.
Yes.
So I don't have anything bad to knock about UT. Because I went to UT Austin way back when I graduated high school.
Okay.
Yeah. Down in Austin. It was the Longhorn. But you got your master's
Mhm.
in marketing.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did that go? What made you decide marketing?
So I have a friend that I made when I was at Texas Tech, and we're still friends to this day. And I found out the benefits that I got from serving the Army were about to expire. She has a bachelor's in business and she's got a master's in education. And I was just talking to her one time, and I don't know how we got into the business part. And then somehow marketing came up, and I looked into it, and it went from there. And it's
Okay.
really cool because my friend from Tech, her name is Stanisha, she also helped guide me with my bachelor's degree in human development family studies. Because, I'm a first generation college student, meaning that I'm the first person in my immediate family
Yep.
to go to college. And so when I went to go work on my bachelor's, like, I didn't know how college worked. I was just going to take classes and stuff. And I remember with my bachelor's, I was telling her, I heard there's classes that you can take at Tech, that it's about people and marriages and relationships. She's like, you do know that's part of a degree, right? And I was like, that's a part of a degree. And so I went to go talk to the academic counselor, and that's how I got into that. But I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
No, I totally understand. Because when I went to UT Austin, I was the first one in the family to go to school.
Okay.
I didn't have parental help to help me learn how to navigate the education system and how to manage time, manage, I I worked full time. I worked 40 hours a week, and I took 14 hours at
And
UT
that's
Austin.
a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah, I was
is
taking 14
for full time. Full time's even a lot. So for you to take past 12, that's a lot.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
I really didn't know. I didn't have anybody helping advise going through that experience. The woulda, coulda, shoulda, and that's how I ended up joining the Army, because I just saw that my life was going nowhere fast, and I still wanted to go to school, but I just wasn't equipped with knowing how to manage my adult life at that time, and keep a roof over my head, and going to school, and not understanding about loans. That was way back when, loans were bad. They could have been $6,000, a year. But back then, that was in 86, 87, $6,000 seemed like a whole lot of money compared to now.
I still owe student loans from a bachelor's degree. And I will tell you something, it's super competitive. So the only reason why I remember this is because when you're in high school, like, the way you define yourself is not healthy. For me, like, my identity was my GPA.
Yeah.
So when I was a senior in high school, when I graduated, I'm like, okay, my GPA is a 3.939. And the reason why that stuck with me is because I ingrained it. Like, that was my identity.
No,
but it was so competitive. Like, I didn't get any scholarships, but part of my problem in high school was, I was all about academics, which is great, but they also want to see you outside of academics.
Community.
Are you volunteering? Are you working a job? And so it didn't show that, I had a variety of
that holistic.
Yeah, I wasn't a holistic person. I was just education, which is great, but they want to see something outside that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I'm like, that was a part of God's plan, because God can do anything. I believe in God. I can say that, had I gotten scholarships and stuff like that, I might have not joined the Army, because school was paid for, but school wasn't paid for. I did graduate with my bachelor's. I took student loans out.
Right.
Then the first time I went to grad school, I took student loans out too. But to go back to grad school again, I wasn't taking out student loans.
No, I totally understand. But you registered here in Texas, though, right? Did you?
For the military, yeah.
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 So maybe there's some help for you there. Maybe we got to get you plugged in with the.
The Hazelwood Act, it helped pay for my master's. And then I chose, I think, Chapter 30 that helped pay for my master's. So yeah, I'm very blessed and fortunate. I didn't have to pull out student loans for this master's degree.
Well, that's good. But you graduate with your bachelor's and then went in as an enlisted person in the Army.
Yeah. So I graduated from Texas Tech August of 2007. And I left for basic training January of 2012. So it was a couple of years
Right.
after I got my degree that I joined the Army. But that's because the economy, global financial crisis in 2008, and it was very difficult, for me to find a job because, companies weren't really hiring. And
It would be interesting to see if you know my second oldest son, because he went to tech probably at about that time.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you saw, I interviewed Josh for his birthday on November 29th. I'll have to look and see if you know who Josh is. That would be kind of weird.
That would be crazy.
If you knew my son. Because he didn't graduate from tech. He graduated from UNT a couple of years ago, but he did go to tech at about that time frame.
Okay.
I don't know. Small world.
Small world.
So you joined the Army in 2012 then.
Yes.
And what was your MOS? What did you do?
I was a medic.
Medic? How did you like that?
So funny story. So when I graduated with my bachelor's degree, my uncle and aunt invited me to live with them, to help me get up on my feet and stuff. And that's when the economy, global financial crisis. And I lived with them for a couple years, and I tried, but then I had to go home to my mom. And I had several different temporary jobs. And then I became unemployed. And I don't know what it's like now for unemployment.
Probably still not good.
So at the time when I was unemployed, you had to apply for so many jobs, and rightfully so, in order to get an unemployment check. And I was looking for jobs about helping people because my degree is about enhancing and improving the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking for those type of jobs. And a position in the Army was looking for a mental health specialist. I was like, oh, that sounds cool, mental health specialist. But that's the Army. That sounds really scary. And at that time, my hometown had an Army Career Center. And so this is funny. I went dressed up professionally to the Army Career Center. And the recruiter's like, how can I help you? And I was like, there's a mental health specialist position I saw in their internet. Can we talk more about it? He said, sure. And we talked about it some. And he's like, there's a lot that goes in the Army, which is true. You can't just sit in one day and talk about it.
Right.
He's like, I cover a big area. Whenever I'm available, can you come talk to me? And I was like, oh, yeah. So every time he was available, I'd go dressed up professionally to go see him. And one day he was like, unless you just really like dressing like that, he's like, you don't have to dress professionally when you come see me. I said, oh, okay. So I just dressed up in regular clothes. And, every time him and I met, we would, just talk about different stuff. And one day he had told me that, we can start the process, and up to a certain point, I will tell you there's like no point of return.
Okay.
And I told him, I was like, well, if I'm going to keep talking to you and seeing you, I'm going to give you an answer with, I think, like the next day, within the few days. And he's like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I'll let you know when. And I'm like, no, if I'm going to spend the time, I'm going to, and that's so not like me, because this is like the Army. This is scary. It's not like a dream or goal or backup plan to join the military. And so I went home and I told my mom, I'm like, I'm going to pray about this.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge decision. And I know I've talked to a lot of veterans and service members, and everybody has their different perspectives, and goals and whatnot when they join the military. But, I viewed it as, this is very scary. I really did. And I prayed about it, and I believe that God was like, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
And I was all right. There's times I definitely did not feel all right, but I was all right. And that is how I got in the Army. But I will say, as far as the healthcare specialist, the medic part is concerned, so I didn't know any better. So I told the recruiter that I wanted to be a mental health specialist. So when I took the ASVAB and all that stuff, from my understanding from somebody else that was a recruiter, I guess like certain positions, they have so many regions or something like that.
So having allocations.
Yeah. So at the time when I had took the ASVAB, I guess in the area I was in, there was no slots for mental health specialists. Oh. So my recruiter there goes that story, was like, he showed me all the jobs that I qualified for. And one of them was the healthcare specialist. Another one was military police. And I can't remember all the other ones that I was. And, he didn't force me to choose a healthcare specialist. But what he said was, well, if you choose healthcare specialist, as if it was easy to slide into mental health specialist. And that's how he got me. But I really don't. I mean, I personally didn't like healthcare specialists, but I don't regret it.
Yeah.
I don't regret my MOS. I don't regret the Army. I can tell you a funny story about being a healthcare specialist. When I was at basic training. So everybody can tell by now when you're watching that I did no research before I joined the military. So when I was at basic, they were already talking about, okay, if your MOS is, this, you're go over this group. I guess they had to give us some kind of information, right? So I'm waiting to hear healthcare specialist. I don't hear healthcare specialist. And so the drill sergeant was like, well, if you haven't heard your MOS, let us know. So I went up to the drill sergeant. I said, I haven't heard my MOS. He said, what's your MOS? I'm like, oh, it's healthcare specialist. He's like, oh, you're a combat medic. My heart about dropped because I didn't know that healthcare specialist and combat medic are like the same thing.
Yeah. Makes sense. I was in the middle of finals when I joined the Army.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was to go in the reserves. But I remember going in the recruiter's office because I knew that I was struggling with where things were at in life. And I asked, isn't there some way that I can join the Army? And but I don't have to do that basic training thing. That's almost the same response a recruiter did. But I hadn't done the research either.
Yeah.
Right? But I think part of it was that my dad was Air National Guard, and he was just stationed over in Grand Prairie at the Naval Air Station, Dallas. And Dad would go on different trips to Germany. He's been to Panama and Honduras. Because he worked on C-130s. Okay. He worked on the airplanes from the Air Force side of things. Because he was both the civil servant and the Air National Guard on the weekends. But I didn't ever know that he had done the basic training. We didn't ever have those kinds of discussions. So I didn't know. But, I went in as a paralegal with my ASVAB scores. So
okay, cool.
I didn't even know what other things I could have qualified for. I got paralegal. So I was in the JAG Club. But
can we skip the whole basic training part?
Yeah, right. Little bit of it's okay. I enjoyed it.
To the job part.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Let's see. So we're doing pretty good on time. All right. So you went in as an enlisted, not as officer. The woulda, coulda, shoulda thing. You didn't know.
No, I didn't know. I mean, I know now, but when I was talking to the recruiter. Okay, so what the recruiter said was, I don't know if it was just a lot of paperwork to be an officer, or if they were trying to convince him we don't need many officers. Let's just I don't know what the deal was, but he mentioned something about officer. I don't remember exactly what he said, and I was like, oh, well, let's just go. Not doing research. Let's go, enlisted. But like I said,
you were easier recruiting goal for him to meet you as enlisted and not the officer side.
Yeah.
So lesson be learned, if you haven't, if you're looking at joining, ask the right questions. Part of it is knowing what questions to ask. All right. So fast forward, you said that you went for your master's 3 different times. So what happened on each of those start stops?
Okay. So the first time I went for my master's degree was a year after I graduated from Texas Tech. And I was working on a master's in counseling. And my second semester, I had to take an ethics class. And when I was taking that class, I was struggling a lot, not like understanding the material. It wasn't understanding. I was just being personally affected by a lot of stuff that we were talking about.
Oh.
And I was just having a hard time with it. And I talked to either an academic counselor or maybe like a psychological counselor or maybe both. And what we came to the conclusion of was my whole life had been about academics, and that's not a bad thing. But I also didn't know myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have a lot of work experience. And so came to the conclusion it was my own decision that let me step back because I need more life experience. Counseling may not be for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I stepped back. Now, the first time I went to grad school, that was prior to joining the military.
Okay.
So then, I joined the military a couple years later. And then when I got out, I think it was like a year and a half afterwards, I went to grad school again. Now, that time it was on purpose temporarily.
Yeah.
But what I did with that time was I went interdisciplinary studies. It's like you have like 3 majors or 3 minors and you put it together and you explain to the school how you want to make it work or something like that. And so I had chosen, I chose counseling, I chose psychology, and I chose communication.
Okay.
And so I took 1 class for each. And for the counseling, unfortunately, I personally don't like online classes, but it was online. So I did it online. And after taking that counseling class, I was like, I have a high respect for counselors and anybody that wants to do this, but this is just, it's not working out. It's not for me. This is not where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
And then as far as like psychology, I think is important and communication is important. It just, like I said, I intentionally went to school for just a semester, but I learned that semester, I learned a lot of important things,
Right.
but those things weren't for me.
But part of it that because it was online that.
Oh, for the counseling part?
Yeah.
No.
Do you think it would have made a difference if you were in person?
I don't think so. Cause like even today, like, I haven't taken any counseling classes. It's just, so this is how I feel. There are lots of different ways to help people.
Yeah.
You could do it in a counseling way. I got my master's in marketing. You can help people with marketing, believe it or not. It just depends on how you view it. The way I view marketing for myself is there are certain products out there that could really help people cope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not aware of it. And certain products out there have a stigma, unfortunately. And if you let people know, well, no, here's, testimonies, this is what it's doing to your body, or whatever that product may be.
Right.
Like I can help people that way. So I feel like there's different ways to help people. And for me, the counseling route, I was like, I meant to help people, but not in the counseling route.
Right.
Counseling is not bad. But for me, the marketing ways to go.
No, that makes sense. So you did the marketing, but you were an in-person student in your to finish your marketing.
Yes.
Right?
So there was 2 classes that I took at UTD that were only offered online. I didn't like that, but one of the classes I really wanted to take it and it was only offered online. So I took that. And there was another class. I'm not going to lie. I was very scared to take it because the school has, every degree has like core classes where everybody has to take it. And then the other classes, it makes up your degree. And they recommended this one class. And I really didn't want to take it. But at the same time, I was like, if the school is recommending this, they know what they're talking about. And I need to trust that.
Right.
Because I've already worked in the world for a while and, it just, things weren't working out. So if somebody's giving me information, I need to trust it. Right.
Right.
So that class was only offered online. And it's so funny because prior to last semester, I've had several A's, but there's different kinds of A's in grad school. There's like an A and A minus. That class was like the only class that I made like an A.
Okay.
So this was the class I was scared of.
Right. But you got a better grade.
But I got a better grade. So sometimes it tells you like, you may be afraid. This description to me, it sounded boring too. It didn't sound interesting. But sometimes you have to trust when somebody's telling you something.
Yeah.
And you also have to take a risk.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
If you want something and you kind of have an idea of where you might want to go, and if they're making recommendations, you got to try. Like, I will also say there's one class that was in person that they recommended. I 100% not, like, they can't make me take certain classes. I didn't want to take this class because I knew I wasn't going to do well in it. And it was a miracle that, I passed the class. I'm not saying I did well, but I passed the class.
Hey, sometimes that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, I still got my degree, but sometimes that is life. You listen to people's recommendation. Sometimes it works out well, like that one class online person.
Right.
I took that other class that was in person. I knew it wasn't going to work out for me, but I had to learn it. They were recommending it. And then after I didn't do so well in that class.
It sounds like it had to have been statistics.
I'm just statistics. I didn't have to take that. I'm not good at statistics. That's so funny that you said that. But it wasn't that class.
Statistics is tough. I've had to take 2 stats classes. One in my MBA program. No, I've had 3. Sorry, I've taken 3 stats classes. One in my MBA, one in my second master's in public leadership, and one in my PhD program. And stats is different every time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even the software that they introduce you to do the statistics in, and in the PhD program, it's on another level.
Yeah.
The stats side.
But since you brought up statistics, there is something that I do want to say. I actually want to say 2 things.
Okay.
Like I've told you, I believe in God. I am not strong in math, especially statistics. I'm not strong at statistics
it's
at
an
all.
intimidating topic.
I think statistics is very challenging, but I have a strong belief that if God wants you to do something or accomplish something, He's going to make it work out.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that when I went to my statistics class for the first time, I sat next to a woman, and she had already known some people in the class, and we worked together to figure out the statistics.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because when I was taking this class, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, God, I'm not good at statistics, but I have to take it because it's a core class. There's no way around it.
Right.
But like I said, if God wants you to learn something, accomplish something, He wanted me to get this degree, I'm going to help you through it.
Right.
I'm going to put people in place. And I'm an introverted person. I just don't go talking to everybody and anybody. But, she happened to sit next to me, and, we hit it off, and she knew people. And what we would do is, we would be like, okay, we have a homework assignment. Everybody do as much as you can.
Right.
And then we will come together and we will talk about what our answers are. And if we all have different answers, we needed to explain how did we each get the answer, so that way we could all learn how to get the correct answer.
Right.
So
that makes sense. So God was working your people garden. That's what I call it, right?
Yeah.
He gave you a people garden to get through it. And it wasn't supposed to just be a stumbling block.
Yeah.
But I think that for you, that's where the in-person class probably helped. All of my upper education, when I got out, I finished my bachelor's online, did 2 masters online, and been working on my PhD all online. I feel in some ways very handicapped that I've had to learn most all of this stuff by myself, which has kind of been its own difficult journey. My second master's was a Master of Arts in Public Leadership with the University of San Francisco. We had a few in-person weekend sessions.
Yeah.
So I did get to meet some of my classmates on those weekend sessions, but you don't get to develop the same kinds of relationships in those brief periods. But otherwise it's all been online. I don't feel really connected with the campus or with, the university itself. I only know what I've learned with talking with the professors and that connectedness there. There's kind of a handicap in a way. But then I've had to learn how to depend upon myself to get through this, to get through the course, the courses themselves.
And the way I view it too, I think a lot of things are about perspective and asking
Yeah.
God to give you perspective. Maybe you needed to take a majority of your online classes because God's like, I got you, Eva. And not
Yeah.
only do I got you, Eva, I need you to know what you can take
Yeah.
and what you can accomplish. So I'm not against online classes. I'm just saying it's not for me.
Oh,
I
no,
wanted
I
to
get
take
it. But I think it's important for the audience to know
Yeah.
that you have options.
Mhm.
When I was first going through my bachelor's and my MBA, I had 2 very young kids.
Yeah.
If I going in person would not have been possible.
Right.
I'm a voc rehab success story
Okay.
from the VA. I got to it going online was an advantage because Cody and Carrie were very young toddlers, right? So, and I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And I got to go to a private college, Dallas Baptist University, because they offered the degree program that I needed.
Right.
And without having wheels to get to school,
Yeah.
going online to Dallas Baptist University, thank God, I'm
Yeah.
Catholic, so I went to a Dallas Baptist University.
But that's awesome.
But God blessed me with
Yeah.
getting the education that made it work for me and my family to be able to get that education that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
But see, I think that's cool that you share that story because it's letting people watch this know, like, you're Catholic, but
Yeah.
but sometimes God will use something different, which was a Dallas Baptist. And not only was it Baptist, okay, 2 different Catholic and Baptist, but guess what? Dallas Baptist had this flexibility of online.
Right.
So I'm really glad that you share this story because I think, our audience needs to remember, especially in this new year.
Yeah.
A lot of
opportunities out there, folks.
Perspective, asking God, help me see things the way I need to see them, because you could have looked at it as, well, God, it's not a Catholic school.
And the doors closed.
Yeah.
And you got no wheels. I mean, I could have had lots of naysaying.
And you could have spiraled. And I'm not attacking anybody if you struggle with that, but that is something throughout your life, especially we're starting a new year, like getting your perception better, because it will help you move forward. Exactly.
All right, so now you ended up in marketing. Tell us about how I think we started it before, but the marketing side of things, and what are you going to do?
I'm a real with everybody. And it's okay. I personally don't know what I want to do right now, but I will say that there's a veteran-owned business that I like their products. So I'm going to send them an email and let them know that I'll call it volunteer. I don't know if that's the right word, but like 16 hours a week.
Kid intern.
Like intern. Yeah. And so that way I can gain some experience. And, they can gain some free labor, and hopefully we can bring value to both of each other while I apply for different jobs. There is this digital marketing company that they reached out to me. I wasn't the only person they reached out. They were trying to get a bunch of people. And now they're looking for somebody with a high GPA. I didn't graduate with a high GPA. But the way I view it is, it goes back to perspective, and everybody's, in different places in their life and whatnot. But I'm like, I'm 41, new to the business world. And, I just got my master's in marketing. You're getting a fresh set of eyes. So if this company interviews me, I can bring that into the interview because I know there's not a lot of people in marketing 40 and above. And
really?
When you're
there's not, I mean, why do you think that there's not many people? I mean, I didn't know. My son's got his degree in marketing. He's 30. Is it just
that was one of the statistics that one of my classes have gave me, and I don't know what like that particular number is, but that's something that I could bring up to their attention. You know how a lot of times at the end of interviews they'll be like, "Do you have anything to add?" I mean, I would like to add that because it's just like I'm coming off fresh. You know what I'm saying?
You're fresh, but from an older
perspective. So like For example,
mature is a good word, right?
Yeah.
Mature. We don't want to use the word old or
I got a lot of life experience.
There you go. Yes.
Let's reframe it to more life experience.
I like it. I like it.
Because, I can do a lot of research on younger people. That is something that I can do. I can gain that information, but I'm not a younger person. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like with younger people, they can do a lot of research, on like our age groups, but they haven't been,
But they don't
in our
have that
place.
life experience.
And they don't
to
have
be
that life.
able
And it's not
to
knocking
speak
them.
to,
Yeah.
right, to speak to a particular nuance
Mhm.
for whatever that product is. I don't know. There's a part of me thinks that you're going to end up becoming an entrepreneur. I could see that because I don't think that there's a lot of, and maybe I'm wrong, but
Mhm.
maybe I do have a business hat side of things.
Right.
But maybe your
Mhm.
maybe you have an opportunity to become an entrepreneur.
Well,
and you can do consulting for veteran-owned businesses to help, help them level up their marketing game.
Well, that means a lot that you said that to me, because you're somebody with a business background. So if you're seeing that in me, that that helps give me hope, because I'm not saying that's exactly what I'm going to become, but you don't.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like I told you earlier, I don't think I said it in front of our audience, but my last semester, so last year, I took all the classes I took for my master's in marketing. They were all marketing classes, except last semester one was organizational behavior, and the other one was market entry strategies, which is still a marketing class, but it was an entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And I took that class, and something with marketing, they have something called the 4 P's of marketing, the 4 C's of marketing.
Okay.
4 P's is like traditional marketing, and 4 C's is more like the modern marketing.
Okay.
And I love the modern marketing, because modern marketing involves a lot of community.
Okay.
And I'm like, I think community is so important. I am so blessed. I have so many communities I'm a part of. I can tell you, the high school I graduated from, even though I don't live in that town, I'm a part of that community.
Yeah.
I mean, my maiden name is Hosto. That's not a common last name. Everybody knew who that was. And I have sisters too, so it isn't just me. I graduated from Texas Tech. I'm a part of that community.
Right.
So, I can be like wearing my Texas Tech jacket, and you can meet somebody that you've never met at Texas Tech, but hey, now you have, a common bond. I love that. Same thing with the military. I was stationed at Fort Drum. You don't have to be stationed at Fort Drum. Your Army, we connect. Your Navy, we connect.
Yeah.
Now that I graduated from UTD, I'm part of that community. Like, community is so important, to have people that you can connect with, have conversations. Or maybe you don't want to, develop relationships or connect, but maybe you just have a question, and somebody in that community may have an answer.
Yeah. Or an introduction.
Yeah, or an introduction.
Yeah.
So
Go a long way with introductions.
Oh yeah.
So what was the biggest challenge you had going through, the start-stop side of getting your master's? I mean, you pivoted twice into your third degree. What helped you land? Someone started. What helped you land in the marketing? As your major? What helped you make that particular thing as your degree?
To be honest, I don't remember.
Oh.
It might hit me later at like 2 a.m. Masters of marketing.
But maybe it was still that helping side. I mean, is that maybe because that was what your first one was going to be? There was still that community and helping side of things. Maybe it was just finding. Maybe you answered that at the beginning. Where just
well, I talked about how I kind of got introduced to it was through my friend,
right?
But I'm trying to think, like, why did I finalize marketing? And to be honest, I don't remember right now.
All right. But what was the biggest challenge that you had with getting the degree, period? Just being able to finish it. Was there any particular one thing? And I bring this up because member audience, this is from pain to purpose, right? And so for me, my getting these different degrees, especially when I was getting my bachelor's into my MBA, I had no job.
Right.
Right. So becoming a student was literally the very foundational thing that saved me and my family from being
Right.
homeless. And I don't talk about that in my
Mhm.
story very much, but literally
Mhm.
I became the best student ever because I knew that my kids were banking on me being the best student
And
I could.
I think that's what makes great students. Like, I mean, for some students, literally like you, like this has got to work. I got to make this work.
Yeah.
Because if I don't make this work, like me and my kids are going to be out in the street and we're going to be hungry, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some people, you know, it may not be that, but like the school that I went to, it's a lot of students that are from international students, and I don't know what their particular lives are like.
Right.
But for some of them, it may be, I need to help out my mom, you know,
Yeah.
and her dad, so they have something that drives them. I think for me, the pain, it wasn't really my getting my master's in marketing. I think it was, you know, I had, you know, I don't remember if I said this earlier on here or not, but just how I viewed life as you know, graduate from high school and you go get your degree and then you go get that job and then you go meet that person and then you go get that house. And then if you want that kids, you know, you go get kids and the vacation. And like, I believe for some people, that's how God has it planned out.
Yeah.
But for some of us, it's not like that. And it's not a bad thing. Everybody has a different purpose and a different journey. So it was really hard for me when, you know, I graduated from Texas Tech, August of 2007. I took a year off, you know, to go get my master's degree. And when that didn't work out, that was hard.
Yeah.
Because it was like, that was one of my life goals, go get that master's degree, but it ain't working out. And that was hard. That hurt.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if that was, you know, and I was young too, if you put everything in that and then that's taken away, where do I belong? Where do I fit in? Now, in my story, God's like, I'm not going to let that work out because I need you to join the military. And if I had told you this pre 9/11, that you were going to be like, no, and that's true. I've been like, no, God, if he would have told me you're going to join the military later in life, actually, for me, it would have been 10 years later because we had 9/11 in 01. And I actually joined the military. Well, like, you know, raise my hand and all that. That was like, it was like September 9th or September 10th of 2011. So it was really like 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I didn't intentionally do that. That's
Right.
how that played out. But I think God was like, I'm going to use the military. I get a little emotional about this. Because I need to strengthen you. And it's going to be a painful process. And you're going to be by yourself a lot. But I'm doing this because you need to learn to depend on me. Because where I'm taking you, it's going to be so great. And there's going to be some people around you that are going to want to be a part of what I have for you, and they can't be a part. So you need to be strong and you need to be confident in yourself. So I personally believe, like how you said earlier, you see me being an entrepreneur. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm not saying you're wrong. We'll see what happens. But do I personally believe that I'm going to do something big one day? I do. Is it going to be like Jeff Bezos big? That I don't know. But it is going to be big. I really do believe that. And I believe that sometimes, and I want people to hear me out on this, because I think, you know, we get all kinds of messages of, oh, it's supposed to be kind of easy, or if you're not getting that degree right then, or you're not getting married then, or whatever, like you're failing. Like, no, every person has a purpose.
Yeah.
But that journey is going to look different for everybody. And sometimes you're going to be alone in that journey and it's going to be hard. But and God will put people, you know, to help you along that journey, but they're not going to always be consistently there, because that's not what it's about. It's about you depending on God.
Right.
And
everybody cannot be everything to you because they still have their own personal lives. But it sounds like God had these people growing around you in your people garden.
Yeah.
Right. That he put people in your life on purpose, but it was still for you to be able to learn how to blossom on your own.
Yeah.
We're the fertilizer to help, you know, help nurture you, but it's still up to you to grow strong in your own right.
And I will say too, and everybody's from different cultures and whatnot. So I have a Hispanic background, and when I say family, I include my aunts and uncles. Like, it's a big family.
Yeah.
Like, my mom's the oldest; she's got 4 sisters and 3 brothers. Like, big like that. And we do a lot of things together, and that's beautiful. That's a beautiful community. But God was like, that's beautiful and that's great, but I need to take you out of that, because I was stationed at Fort Drum and my family's from Texas, so I'm all the way up in New York.
Yeah.
And they're over here. He's like, family's beautiful and it's wonderful, but I need for you to make me a part of your family and not just say it.
That is
I
powerful.
need you to have a relationship with me, and I need you to trust me, because because I honestly, when I joined the Army, I thought maybe God's just seeing if I'm going to obey him. I really did not think I was going to make it through basic. I really did not think I was going to make it through AIT. And then when I made it to Fort Drum, I'm like, I'm not even going to last a year at Fort Drum. They're going to let me go within a year. No, I finished, those, first 4 years of the contract. So yeah.
And now look at you.
And now look at me. Got my master's degree, and I don't know where
and it
I'm
hasn't
going.
necessarily been easy either.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, like I can say, like, this is a lot that has to do with the military. So, in the military, when we do something, it's go time.
Yeah.
We need answers like that. I would get really impatient in my head. I would send somebody a Teams message, and I'm like expecting an immediate answer. And I have to tell myself, I'm like, Samantha, stop. Like, they may be working.
Right.
They may be working on a project. Maybe they just need a break. Like, and I never messaged somebody and be like, why aren't you answering me now? I never did. But in my head, I'm so used to like, go, go, go. Let's move fast. Let's move fast. It's like, you got to slow down, because people have life too.
Yeah.
So I would say that was challenging, because when I want something done, let's do it, but it's like,
but that's I think part of it is our Army life.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely that.
Well,
at least for me.
High speed, low drag. And then when you get to civilian life, it's C's okay. I say, I know people who, getting a C grade is passing. And so therefore it's okay. But we're used to being overachievers and overthinking. And so we do the A.
So I will tell you right now, like, because it's great to be, a high achiever. So with my bachelor's degree, I graduated with honors, and I got 1 C with my bachelor's. I don't remember if it was 2, but for sure I got 1 C. And then with my master's, like I did get a C. I mean, the way I view it too is you always want to, achieve for the highest and achieve the best.
Yeah.
But sometimes your hardest earned work is a C, and that is okay. And guess what? I got a C, and I still got a degree, a master's at that.
That's
so, yeah.
What? I'm trying to think. What's probably? I usually finish my interviews with, what's the one question I should have asked that I did it?
I don't know.
Hopes and dreams. Maybe that's one. What's your hopes and dreams for? I mean, that was probably the hardest thing that I had to learn when I got out of the Army, and I got laid off twice, right? Okay. I got into the workforce, but got laid off twice, was forced into becoming an entrepreneur. But then 2008 hit, we lost my house. We lost everything. Yeah. And that was really tough. So I have a couple of years with zero income. And that's how I ended up, getting my education was the answer for us. But I became a much better student as an adult compared to what I was when I was working 14 hours, you're going to school 14 hours, working 40 hours, and not understanding the discipline it takes to manage that whole lifestyle. I became a much better student as an adult. And even now I can manage doing all these other things because I'm better at managing my time and being self-disciplined about how do I get these things done with traveling and all that stuff. So, but the one critical thing, I had somebody, this lady, she was a Mary Kay lady, when I was really low in life, and this was a particular time she asked me, so what do you dream of? And I talk about it in my book, Welcome to My People Garden. And I said, what do you mean what I dream of? I said, the only thing I'm dreaming of right now is what am I going to put on the table today for my kids to eat? Yeah. And she goes, Eva, I got to teach you how to dream. Yeah. And that was really critical because I didn't know what was possible. Right. It wasn't about the work. It wasn't about the education. It wasn't even just about dreaming, period. It was the hope for the future. Yeah. And I just didn't understand that part because nobody had talked about that in the military. Yeah. It was do the job and tomorrow's do the job. There's always a mission. Right. But what was the positive side? What was that hope and dream side? Yeah. And I didn't understand that side at all. So I don't know. I'm throwing that out at you. What do you hope and dream for?
I will say, like, I'm gonna look at the camera and let the audience know. Something that God's been talking to me about is for me to dream big and to believe that. And I will tell you, one of my struggles with my master's in marketing was getting a master's didn't work out the first time. I mentally fought like, am I going to be able to do this? Because things just didn't keep working out. And I had to fight against like, God had a reason why you couldn't get a master's the first time. And so God's just telling me now, like, dream big. There's that Bible verse, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know that plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you hope in the future. I hold on to that verse so hard. Yep. Because
that's the DBU motto.
Yeah, the DBU motto. It's like the first grad school. And, and I stay connected, with DBU in that sense with that verse. And, like I said, I have a master's degree. We know the economy's not, going very well, but I just hold on to that verse that he's got a plan and he's going to make a way and things are going to happen. And I got to be patient because, it may or may not happen this year. It may take a couple of years. And I just have to tune out what I see and what I hear and just keep trusting God.
Yep, man. I love it. Wow. This has been an incredible interview. I'm so glad you came over. You made the long trip over.
And I loved a lot of things that you said because you'd say things and I was like, oh, I got to add this.
Thanks, everybody. I didn't even write it down. I was so busy. I have guests for the next couple of weeks and I can't wait. I think I've got my friend Gerald and Richie, I think is his name, talking about tech veterans in tech.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard of that.
Yep. Well, not that organization, but the topic of veterans in STEM, I think is a way I have it. Then I have David Morrow and then I have another good friend of mine joining me. She's got quite the story to tell and it's going to be about domestic violence. Okay. So anyways, I have something to add about that topic as well in my own life. So anyways, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Samantha. Y'all have a blessed week and let's kick off 2026 with intention because that's my word of the year, intentional. Y'all have a great week.
Bye.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25 and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.